The silent arrival, the galaxy was wide, full of light, full of voices, full of old empires that thought they ruled forever. Yet, far beyond the bright stars, in the cold and quiet dark, something began to move. It was slow, almost patient, as if it had been waiting for this very moment. Alien scouts were the first to see it. Their small ships patrolled the border, expecting smugglers or pirates. Instead, their sensors picked up a shadow bigger than any fleet they had ever seen. They whispered to each other, their voices shaking, because this was not a station, not an asteroid, not even a normal warship. It was something else, something alive with power. At first, they thought the readings were broken. The numbers made no sense. One of them said, "No ship can be this size." Another muttered, "It is a planet." But then the shadow shifted and the stars behind it disappeared. Engines lit up like burning suns, and the truth hit them. This was no planet. This was a battleship. The name passed from scout to scout, then to commanders, then to the council itself. The Thunder-Soul Battleship. No one knew where the humans had built it. No one knew how they had kept it hidden. But now it was awake. The alien scouts sent desperate warnings, but most of the council laughed when they heard. Humans? They said with smirks. Primitive creatures. They throw metal at rocks and call it science. Others chuckled. If they had such power, we would have seen it long ago. The sound of mocking voices filled the chamber. They had mocked humans for centuries. Weak, small, reckless. That was the image of Earth in their minds. Yet there were a few who did not laugh. One alien captain stood before the council, his scales trembling under the bright lights. "I saw it with my own eyes," he cried. "The Thunder-Soul is not a story. It is real. Its cannons glow brighter than any sun. One shot could erase a fleet. If humans truly command such a ship, then..." But the council cut him off. "Nonsense. Do not spread fear. The humans bluff, as always." Still, doubt began to creep into the minds of some. Late at night, in quiet rooms, they replayed the intercepted footage from the scouts. A giant ship, moving silently through the void, its outline like a predator waiting to strike. A weapon charging, the glow building like lightning about to break the sky. Then the recording ended, filled with static and screams. The scouts never returned. Out in the border sectors, whispers spread like fire. Traders spoke of a human vessel that swallowed pirate fleets whole. Miners told stories of a shadow drifting past their stations, silent as a ghost, but heavy enough to make their machines tremble. No one wanted to admit it, but the galaxy was afraid. On Earth, humans said nothing. No speech, no message, no threat. They simply waited. Their silence was louder than any warning. It was the kind of silence that made whole empires nervous. In one remote colony, a young alien child asked her father, "Why do the humans not speak?" The father shook his head, fear in his eyes. "Because when they speak, the stars will burn." The mystery grew. How had they built it? How had they hidden it? The council sent spies, but every trail went cold. Old records were checked, but the humans had erased their tracks well. For years, aliens believed Earth was poor, weak, always, begging for scraps. But now they began to wonder, was it all a mask? Were humans pretending, waiting in the shadows, building this monster of steel and fire in secret? The Thunder-Soul drifted closer to the border, silent as a hunter. It did not attack. It did not demand. It simply moved, letting the galaxy watch and guess. The council called emergency meetings, but every word they spoke carried fear now. No one laughed anymore. A voice whispered in every empire, from the richest rulers to the poorest slaves. If this is the first ship, how many more do the humans have? One alien fleet commander, older than most, sat alone staring at the stars. He remembered an old war long before the council was strong. He remembered human soldiers who never gave up, even when death was certain. He remembered the look in their eyes, the same fire he now saw glowing in the Thunder-Soul. He whispered to himself, "They warned us before. We did not listen. Now we will pay." And so, the galaxy waited. The Thunder-Soul Battleship had arrived. Its engines glowed in silence, its cannons cold but ready. It did not need to prove itself yet. The simple fact that it existed was enough to shake the stars. Those who mocked humans before now felt a new truth sink deep into their bones. Crossing humans might not just be dangerous. It might be madness. Mockery turns to fear. The council chamber was always loud. Voices clashed like storms, every empire trying to prove its strength. The humans had been mocked here for years. Small, fragile, unimportant. Those were the words the council liked to use. Now as the message of the Thunder-Soul Battleship spread, the chamber filled again with noise. "They bluff," shouted one alien diplomat, slamming his claw against the table. "Humans love their little tricks. They hide behind stories, but they have nothing." Another alien envoy, tall and smooth-skinned, smirked. "Yes, they send shadows and whispers. But where is the proof? Where is this so-called battleship? Show us, and then we will laugh harder." The room filled with laughter. Harsh, echoing, proud. For a moment it seemed like the council still believed humans were weak. But then the screens lit up. The holo projectors showed a recording taken from the edge of the frontier. A pirate fleet, 30 ships strong, moving in tight formation. They had been raiding colonies, stealing cargo, terrorizing systems. The council had ignored them for years. Pirates were pests, nothing more. The recording showed the pirate ships, lining up to strike another helpless mining station. Then the shadow came. The Thunder-Soul appeared from the darkness. It was not fast, it was not loud. It simply moved, like a mountain drifting through space. Its size dwarfed the pirate fleet, its cannons glowing like sleeping suns. One pirate ship fired in panic. The shot vanished against a shimmering field of energy. Then came the first strike. The Thunder-Soul's weapon lit up. A beam of light cut across the void, white and sharp. In 1 second, 5 pirate ships disappeared, burned, broken, gone. The rest scattered in terror, but the Thunder-Soul did not chase. It fired again, and the fleet was gone. The recording ended in silence. No, laughter filled the chamber now. Only heavy breathing, nervous shifting, the sound of hearts beating too fast. One alien envoy, his scales pale, whispered, "That was only one shot. One shot." Another tried to hide her fear. Perhaps it is a trick. Perhaps the humans staged this." But her voice shook, and no one believed her words, not even herself. The council leader, old and proud, leaned forward. "How can we know this is real? The humans are clever. They might use illusions." The envoy who had brought the recording stepped forward. His uniform was torn, his eyes wide with something close to terror. "Illusion? I saw it with my own eyes. I lost half my escort when the Thunder-Soul passed by. My ships melted like ice before fire. Do you think my crew is dead because of an illusion?" His voice cracked. "It is real. Too real." The chamber grew cold. The proud laughter from before now seemed foolish. Some tried to stand tall, to keep the mask of pride. "Even if the ship is real," one ambassador said, "it is only one ship. What can one ship do against the strength of the galaxy?" But deep inside, they all knew the truth. One ship had already destroyed a fleet without effort. One ship had already turned fear into silence, and if humans had built one, what stopped them from building more? That night, in the private halls of the council, whispers ran like shadows. Leaders spoke in low voices, afraid their own guards might hear. "Where did they build it?" one asked. "No, one knows," another answered. "The humans were too quiet, too patient. We never watched them closely. We thought they were weak." A third voice, filled with dread, whispered the question no one wanted to say out loud. "What if this is not their first? What if more are hidden, waiting?" Panic began to grow. Some called for peace, others for war. But all agreed on one thing. The humans were no longer small. They were no longer weak. In the colonies, fear turned to respect. Traders spoke of the Thunder-Soul with awe. Miners prayed when they saw its shadow pass. Even pirates, once bold, abandoned human space. No one wanted to be near the silence of that ship. The galaxy had thought humans were harmless. But now they had seen the first strike. And in every corner of every empire, one thought began to rise. Crossing humans was not only dangerous, it was madness. The first warning. The border colony of Varric had never feared humans. Its skies were filled with warships, its markets with riches stolen from weaker races. The Varaki lords ruled with pride, their fleet standing guard like a wall of steel. So when Earth refused their demands for tribute, the lords laughed. Primitive, fools, they said, sipping their golden wines. They think silence is strength. They think ignoring us will protect them. The tribute demand had been simple. Send resources, send soldiers, send respect, or be crushed. Every empire obeyed. Varric. Why would humans be different? The answer came 3 days later. At first, the night sky above Varric was quiet. Then the stars blinked out. One by one, they vanished, swallowed by something vast moving in the dark. The people looked up, confused, whispering. A shadow stretched across the heavens. The ground itself trembled under its weight. Then came the light, engines burning brighter than suns, outlining a shape so massive it blocked the sky. The Thunder-Soul Battleship had arrived. No words came. No messenger appeared. The ship said nothing. It simply hovered above the colony, silent, patient, its presence heavier than 1,000 armies. The Varaki warships scrambled to the skies. Dozens of cruisers, sleek and deadly, surrounded the intruder. Their commanders sent challenge after challenge, demanding the humans identify themselves. No response. Finally, the Varaki lord gave the order. Fire. The first salvo lit up the void, streaks of energy smashing against the Thunder-Soul's shields. The attack struck like rain against a mountain, loud, bright, and completely useless. The humans did not even move. Then, for the first time, the Thunder-Soul spoke. Not in words, not in messages, but in power. Its main cannon awoke. A glow began to build, so bright it turned night into day. The people on the ground fell to their knees, shielding their eyes. The Varaki warships screamed warnings, desperate to break formation. Too late. The cannon fired. The beam tore across the sky like lightning made solid. In one breath, the proud fleet was gone, ships melting, exploding, shattering to dust. The light lasted only seconds, but when it faded, silence remained. The warships that had guarded Varric for centuries no longer existed. Panic spread. Sirens wailed. Soldiers begged for orders. But the lords had no answers. They could only watch as the Thunder-Soul hovered above them, unshaken, unstoppable. Then, just as silently as it had come, the ship turned. Engines flared and it drifted away, leaving the colony untouched. No cities burned, no people were harmed. Only the warships were gone, erased as if they had never existed. The message was clear. Earth did not bow. Earth did not pay tribute. Earth did not kneel before empires. Humanity gave its first warning not with speeches but with a strike so brutal the galaxy could not ignore it. Across the stars, the story spread. In marketplaces, traders whispered, "The Thunder-Soul spared the colony but killed the fleet. Do you see? Humans are not conquerors. They are executioners. They strike only when crossed." In military halls, commanders argued, "If one human ship can destroy a fleet, how many fleets will they erase if we push them further?" In the council chambers, the once laughing voices fell silent. No one dared to mock now. Even the proudest leaders admitted in private what they would never say in public. They had underestimated humanity. On Varric, the people lived under a new fear. They looked to the sky at night, wondering if the shadow would return. Children asked, "Will the humans come again?" And no parent had the courage to answer. The galaxy had seen the first warning, and in every empire, every ruler, every soldier felt the same cold truth settle in their bones. If this was humanity's warning, what would their wrath look like? Legends reborn. The galaxy could not stop whispering about the first strike. The Thunder-Soul Battleship had destroyed an entire Varaki fleet in seconds, then left without a word. No empire had ever done such a thing. Strike hard, strike clean, then vanish in silence. The Council demanded answers. How had humans, once mocked as weak, built such a weapon? How had they hidden it from every spy, every satellite, every watcher, among the stars? So the empires sent spies. They dug into human records, old files, ancient histories. At first they found nothing. The humans had erased their tracks too well. But then, in the shadows of forgotten archives, fragments began to appear. One spy discovered recordings from centuries past, images of endless human wars. Cities turned to ash, skies filled with fire, oceans boiling under bombs. The humans fought each other with such fury that even the most violent alien empires could barely understand it. Another spy found notes on secret projects. Massive engines, designed to move continents, weapons capable of splitting moons, armor forged to survive suns. Each idea looked impossible, yet the humans kept building, testing, failing, and building again. Piece by piece, the picture became clear. The Thunder-Soul was not a sudden miracle. It was the final result of centuries of war, pain, and survival. While the galaxy laughed at them, humans had turned their endless battles into knowledge. Every war, every scar, every loss had taught them how to build something greater. It was not just a battleship. It was history forged into steel. In one report, an alien spy wrote, "They are not like us. When we fall, we surrender. When they fall, they rise stronger. The Thunder-Soul is proof it carries the weight of 1,000 wars." The Council read these words in silence. For the first time, the proud rulers of the galaxy began to fear not only the Thunder-Soul, but the humans themselves. If this ship was their first strike, how many more were waiting in the dark? Rumors spread faster than truth. Some said the humans had 3 Thunder-Souls. Others claimed 10. A few whispered about an entire hidden fleet, a ghost armada that would appear only when Earth was threatened. Fear became legend. In the marketplaces, traders told stories of human soldiers who fought on death worlds and never broke. In taverns, smugglers whispered about fleets vanishing in the night, shadows swallowing them whole. On frontier stations, children drew pictures of a massive ship with eyes of fire. The galaxy, once laughing at humans, now painted them as monsters, of silence and vengeance. And yet, Earth itself said nothing. No ambassador stepped forward. No demand was sent. The humans simply watched, waiting, letting the galaxy's own fear grow bigger than any weapon. One alien general, old and scarred, spoke to his council in secret. "Do you not see? The humans are patient hunters. The Thunder-Soul is not just a weapon, it is bait. They let us stare at it, fear it, whisper about it. While we waste time, they prepare more." His words spread like fire. Soon, entire fleets refused to enter human space. Border colonies pulled their ships back, terrified of being the next Varric. Even pirates, once bold and ruthless, abandoned human trade routes. The galaxy thought humans were pretending to be strong. But now it was clear, humans had always been strong. They had simply hidden it until the right moment. And now that the Thunder-Soul had fired its first strike, everyone understood. Human legends were not myths. They were warnings. Council in panic. The council chamber, once filled with laughter and pride, had changed. No one mocked humans now. No one dared to speak their name without lowering their voice. The memory of the Thunder-Soul's first strike burned in every mind, the way it had erased a fleet in seconds, then vanished into silence. For weeks, the council had argued without end. Some wanted peace, some wanted war. Some wanted to pretend the Thunder-Soul did not exist at all. But fear was stronger than words. Every leader, every ambassador, felt it in their bones. Humanity was no longer something to laugh at. Finally, the council called for an emergency summit. All major empires gathered in the Great Chamber, their banners shining under the star lamps. The air was heavy, every breath tense, as if the entire galaxy was holding itself still. At the center of the chamber, the council leader rose. His voice cracked as he spoke. The humans must answer. They must explain this Thunder-Soul. If we do nothing, their silence will break us. A murmur spread. Some agreed. Others shook their heads in fear. Before the debate could grow, the great doors opened. The humans had arrived. 3 envoys walked into the chamber. They were not dressed in gold, not armed with weapons, not guarded by soldiers. They wore simple black uniforms marked only by the crest of Earth. Their faces were calm, cold, unreadable. The chamber fell silent. Even the proudest empires who had once mocked humans as weak now found themselves staring with unease. One ambassador finally broke the silence. His voice trembled, though he tried to sound strong. Humans. Why do you threaten the galaxy with this Thunder-Soul? What do you want? The human envoy looked at him, his eyes sharp as steel. He did not shout. He did not boast. His voice was steady, quiet, but it carried through the chamber like thunder. We do not want tribute. We do not want your lands. We do not want your chains of power. The chamber waited. Every leader leaned forward, holding their breath. The envoy's gaze swept across them all. We want only one thing: respect. Leave us in peace, and the Thunder-Soul will never fire again. A wave of whispers filled the room. Some were shocked, some were relieved, but many were even more afraid, because there was no arrogance in the humans' words, no greed, no hunger for empire, only calm warning. The council leader tried to stand tall. And if we do not leave you in peace? He asked, his voice shaking. The human envoy did not smile. He did not blink. He simply answered, "Then we will end you, not slowly, not with speeches, with fire." The words fell like a blade. The chamber froze. Some envoys gasped, others stared in disbelief. But no one laughed. Not this time. One alien general, known for his pride, stood and shouted, "You cannot destroy the galaxy with one ship." The human turned to him, eyes like stone. "Do you wish to test that?" The general sat down without another word. Silence spread once more. The humans said nothing more. They stood, waiting, their calm presence more terrifying than any roar of war. Finally, the council ended the session. The humans left the chamber the same way they had entered. Quiet, steady, without fear. The doors closed behind them, and the great rulers of the galaxy were left trembling in their seats. That night, panic spread through the highest halls of power. Leaders gathered in secret, whispering their fears. Some argued to prepare massive fleets. Others begged to sign treaties, at once. No one agreed, but all admitted one thing. Humanity was no longer a joke. Humanity had become a force that could not. The storm unleashed. The council chamber had barely settled after the human warning when news spread of defiance. Not all empires were wise. Some still believed they were untouchable. The Dravari Dominion, an arrogant faction with fleets spread across dozens of systems, refused to bow. Their leader, Lord Carvos, declared before his people, "Humans think one ship makes them gods? Then let them meet our armadas. We will burn Earth until nothing remains." His words echoed across the Dominion. Crowds cheered. Commanders shouted orders. Warships launched in thousands, dark wings blotting out the stars. The Dravari believed their size alone would crush the humans, but they did not understand the silence of the Thunder-Soul. The Dominion fleets advanced on the frontier, attacking small human outposts first. Colonies burned. Stations cracked under bombardment. Messages rushed across the galaxy. The Dravari are coming. Earth is next. Yet Earth did not send speeches. Earth did not send envoys. Only one ship answered, the Thunder-Soul Battleship. It appeared in the void like a storm breaking through calm skies. Its engines glowed. Its shadow swallowed entire fleets. The Dravari laughed when they saw it. One ship against thousands. Their commanders shouted, "Destroy it!" The order rang out. Beams of fire filled the stars. Missiles screamed through space. A storm of weapons fell upon the Thunder-Soul. And yet, nothing. The blasts struck its shields, flashing bright, but the battleship did not move. It drifted forward, slow and steady, like a mountain against waves. Then its cannons began to glow. The first strike ripped through 50 ships at once. A single beam carved the void, leaving wreckage and fire behind. The Dravari gasped but did not retreat. They ordered more attacks, desperate to overwhelm the monster before them. The Thunder-Soul fired again and again. Every shot erased squadrons. Every flash turned fleets into dust. Thousands of Dravari warships became wreckage scattered like broken toys. Their proud armada, their endless pride, shattered in minutes. Panic spread through the Dominion. Captains screamed for retreat. Soldiers begged for mercy. But the Thunder-Soul showed none. It did not chase those who fled. It did not strike planets. It only destroyed the fleets that dared to attack. In less than an hour, the Dominion's greatest armada was gone. The galaxy watched in horror. Live feeds leaked from fleeing ships, showing the glowing cannons, the endless silence, the steady march of destruction. Billions saw it. Billions whispered the same truth. One human battleship had crushed thousands of warships. On Earth, leaders remained calm. They gave no speeches, no celebrations. The humans did not cheer their victory. They simply let the message spread. Across the stars, even the bravest empires now trembled. If one ship could erase an entire armada, what would happen if Earth unleashed more? That night, the Dravari Dominion fell into chaos. Their ruler lord, Carvos, hid in fear, his pride shattered. Colonies whispered rebellion, soldiers deserted, commanders refused to fight again. The Dominion, once mighty, was broken, not by invasion, not by conquest, but by the silence of the Thunder-Soul. In taverns, traders spoke softly. The humans do not shout, they do not boast, they simply strike, and the galaxy burns. Even pirates now told their crews, stay away from Earth, stay away from their borders. To cross them is death. The humans had given their warning, the Dravari had ignored it, and the galaxy had seen what happened when warnings were ignored. The storm had been unleashed, and no one dared to wake it again. Madness confirmed the galaxy was never the same after the Dravari Dominion fell. Their fleets, once stretching across dozens of systems, were gone, burned to ash by a single human battleship. No empire could deny it anymore. The Thunder-Soul was real, and it was unstoppable. Whispers filled the stars like wind through ruins. Crossing humans is death. Even empires fall before their silence. Madness. It is madness to fight them. The council, once proud and mocking, now sat in heavy silence. Every leader remembered the human envoy's words. Leave us in peace or we will end you. Those words hung over them like a blade, sharper than any cannon. Some argued to build greater fleets. We must match them, they cried. But their voices shook, for they knew the truth. If the galaxy's strongest armada could not survive, nothing could. Others begged for peace, swearing to never cross human borders again. Fear had become the new law. In markets, traders no longer cheated human merchants. On colonies, guards no longer pushed human settlers aside. Even pirates, wild and fearless, avoided human space as if it were cursed. The smallest freighter flying Earth's colors now passed untouched, protected not by escorts, but by the memory of the Thunder-Soul. The humans themselves stayed silent. They did not demand tribute, did not seize territory, did not raise their voices. Their silence was louder than any declaration. It said, "We do not need to rule you. We only need you to remember what we can do." On distant worlds, children told stories by firelight. They spoke of a ship the size of a mountain with eyes of lightning and a voice of thunder. They drew it on walls, they whispered its name in fear, Thunder-Soul. But for humans, it was never about legends. It was about survival. For centuries, they had been mocked, ignored, pushed aside. Now, at last, the galaxy understood. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was not weak. To challenge them was not bravery, it was suicide. On Varric, where the first warning strike had burned away a fleet, the lords no longer wore golden pride. They bowed their heads, humbled forever. On Dravari worlds, rebellions grew, fed by whispers of human power. Even the most stubborn empires began to rewrite their laws, shaping treaties that never touched human space. One alien scholar wrote the words that spread across 1,000 systems. To fight humans is to invite your own end. To cross them is pure madness. The galaxy had mocked Earth. Now the galaxy feared Earth. And above it all, drifting somewhere beyond the reach of lesser empires, the Thunder-Soul Battleship remained silent. Its engines glowed faintly, its cannons cold, its vast shadow waiting. No one knew if it was alone. No one knew if more waited in the dark, but no one dared to find out. Because one truth was now carved into the bones of every star, into the blood of every empire. Humanity's first strike was not just a warning, it was a promise. And the galaxy understood at last, crossing humans was not only dangerous, it was madness.